Welcome in, folks. This is Mainframe Multimedia, brought to you by Restream, Rumble, and YouTube. And which we leave YouTube last because this is what we're here to talk about. The main issue we're here to discuss. YouTube recently. As you can see, the corner of the screen here, I am H Will React. And now this this is what I did on my personal channel, my personal section, my H Will channel, where I do reactions to videos and things like that and so forth. So, with that being said, I did a recent reaction to Cindy Cohn of the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, being on The Daily Show, which is Comedy Central, which is, you know, all of those big, all of those big corporate network monsters that own just about everything that we experience on media. So, but and by the way, folks, just so you know, going forward, this is something that I would normally do on Sunday. Like my actual regular life, I like to reflect things. Sometimes I reflect my real life into my work and my content. Like, for example, Sundays. On Sundays, I like to do sort of a weekly big cleanup on Sundays. That's usually a day where I'm more relaxed, not a whole lot to do. You just go ahead and check on anything that really needs to be done around the house, and you just kind of get that taken care of. So it's less worry and work during the week. So this will be part of that starting this coming Sunday, where anything I need to clean up, correct, retract, apologize for, even I would do that on Sundays normally. But spring break happened, holidays happened, a lot of things going on. My little guy was out of school, so it was just a situation where you kind of had to deal with what you had kind of had to deal with. So we're doing the cleanup now because there's only one thing to really clean up and deal with, and that was the the pulling of my video from my YouTube channel due to third party content. Now, this right here, what you're seeing is my on the scene workspace. This is not my primary office, which is downstairs, of course, which is downstairs in my little section, my little cubby that I have my normal my desk, my paperwork, other things, my other props, my actual green screen, at least my green screen sheet, which is still a green screen, honestly, but you know what I mean. So we have that downstairs. And this up here is kind of like when I'm being a little bit more relaxed and I'm doing reaction videos, I'm having fun. You know, you want to be able to find a spot where you're not making the family adjust to what you're doing and everything like that. So this is where sometimes when I'm trying to be congenial and nice, I'm usually doing this up here to try to give them their time to be in a communal space and give me my time to be up here, you know what I'm saying, doing work every once in a while. Now, I'm gonna get more into as I get more of a more comfortable chair, honestly. We'll be doing more content down in the primary office. But this is becoming more comfortable and it kind of still provides the same aesthetic that I try to provide in my downstairs office anyway. So let's just begin. Now, wherever my MacBook goes, by the way, it's my workspace. It's my newsroom. I can pull up information and we can react to it right about now. So the place we need to start, of course, is they'll let me get right here. Okay. So let's see. Let's see if we can pull that up. Alrighty. Okay, folks. And let me see if I can give a little bit more. Let's see. There we go. That should give you a good look.
Very nice to see you. I want to point out.
Oops. Nope. That was a mistake. Now, there we go. Now, here is what they're letting us, that's what they're letting us know here. That I got sent this email. This is my actual Gmail account here. I got sent I got sent the email from Aaron Jew. By the way, let's just we'll move this up. Okay. So this is EFF's Cindy Cohn with John Stewart. Hi, Heronatus. That is my first name actually. I'm Heronatus Williams. See, I'm a journalist, folks. By the way, I don't worry about doxing because when I started Mainframe magazine before, and even before that was doing exclusive magazine years before that. It was my name was my name. I had my little nicknames and things like that when I was doing other creative shit. I still do. This is H Will. This is a play on my name that just says H or Heronatus Williams or Heronatus Will, whatever. And that's why you have the dot dot dots at the end, because it may be H will react, as you see down there, or H will win, H will dominate, H will survive, H will persevere, H will evolve, H will move on. Now that some of those fill-ins are very poignant, very topical for recent events, but that is another video for another day. All right. But here we are to review what's happened here. So let's see, we're gonna try this, move up a little bit, see if we can get a closer look. All right. And so what we're looking at as we move on, okay. So let's move up. Let's see if we can get this moved up. Okay. So EFF director Cindy Cohn will be on The Daily Show tonight, Monday, March 30th at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time, speaking with host Jon Stewart. Watch the interview on live on Comedy Central. Extended episodes are released shortly thereafter on Paramount Plus, as well as in segments on YouTube. They have each one highlighted in red so that you can actually click on it as a link and go to that particular space that it would be offered. Cindy Cohn is targeted as tangled with the feds, fought for your data security, and argued before judges to protect our access to science and knowledge on the internet. Now she's sharing the story in Privacy's Defender, my 30-year fight against digital surveillance. MIT Press, out now. All proceeds support. Good God. I really got to get the premium soon. I will be, folks. EFF's mission for privacy and free expression. And they're giving you the Daily Show logo. They're giving you Cindy some more here, possibly showing that. Okay. Tonight's guest. They're giving you information about the Daily Show. Whatever. He's on the road here. So we could do a little bit more for this. You know what I'm saying? So they're on the road. They're basically showing you the different places they're going to be, and they're going to be speaking to different people about things. Aaron Jew sent this to me, EFF director of member engagement. P.S. Want to support the cause and get a copy of the new book. New or renewing EFF members can select one as their annual gift. Okay. So basically, this is somebody that I've had a rapport with, been sent emails, so been going back and forth messaging. I have supported. I have been a part of the organization. I've donated. I've helped. I've circulated information. This was definitely a time in my 20s, going into my 30s, that I was really pushing hard on the internet. For independent journalism at that time, where hardly anyone was doing it. So this is interesting. I honestly thought that I would do so. I'm doing more in this situation. You see, Iowa City, Iowa, with excuse me, Rashab. Okay, let me just go ahead and go on this. Maybe I can increase this just a little bit more. Let's see. All right. Okay, Washington D.C. He's already passed. Honestly, with Gigi Song, well, the 21st is coming up. Um, well, the 13th is today. No, apologies. Still thinking about taxes. The fourth, so today's the 14th, so that's past 21st coming up. Manhattan, New York, with Julie Samuels. Um, April 23rd in Brooklyn with Anil Dash. May 13th, San Francisco, California, with Adam Savage, and May 19th in Santa Cruz, California. And so it's so basically, so let's just keep on going. Let's keep going here. This is what I got from them. This is official EFF activism, impact, litigation, technology. These are this is some of their information here. As you can see it going by. Now this is me. This is me letting them know as I expand this that I'm psyched to react to the show on my mainframe multimedia YouTube channel and everything like that. And then I get a quick I get a quick reply that's letting me know from Aaron, wonderful. Thank you for supporting and everything like that. You can see the copy of our correspondence and everything like that. So, so it just I don't understand except for the fact that I guess Comedy Central, the network it works for, the Daily Show, they're of course separate from they're of course separate from the EFF. The EFF can be excited that their members will watch it and possibly react to it, but I guess they can't okay or whitelist, as it were, the situation, which is fine. There wasn't an expectation there, but I'm certainly not here trying to pretend that the information was mine. I mean, anybody could see, you know, like anybody could see that it was the Daily Show. So, but at any rate, let's go again. So now I see we have a much easier time here. There we go. So this is the interview that I streamed. This is the Daily Show, of course, as you know, has much more has much the Daily Show, as you can see, has much more than just one interview with one person. They have different skits, they have other staff members that will go to different things. I focus on the one section that had the interview with Cindy Cohn. It is specifically titled Cindy Cohn Fighting for Digital Human Rights and Privacy's Defender. This is the one section that I immediately was led to as soon as I started searching. I don't even think I clicked the link because I mean I was already once I got that they were excited about me reacting to it. I thought I had the okay for getting YouTube and how they do. So here I am. I'm having to re-explain the situation now. Um, but it's not bittersweet. It's not sour grapes. Honestly, the good news is that Rumble allowed me to do it. And so for anyone who will watch this, who will watch my explanation on YouTube and who want to actually see the full on stream and reaction, of this particular interview, if they haven't seen it already on the Daily Show, you can actually watch it on my Rumble page, which is Mainframe Multimedia One. So my probably the only that's probably the only thing like it on Rumble. So go ahead. I'm starting to build my presence on Rumble more and more. So as you can see now, and as I'm telling you now, Rumble is going to allow me more leeway as far as content, as far as what we'll be able to talk about, what we'll be able to present on my particular channel and account. So what doesn't work here seems like it'll certainly work over there. But I am still willing to play the game to make sure that I can still be a presence on YouTube as I start growing and pushing my brand now. So this is the interview. I'm just gonna test some ground here because I can't help it. I'm going to fucking do it. So
Out for the people at home who can't see, she is wearing a "Let's Sue the Government" T-shirt.
one thing I like about her is that she loves her t-shirts. I definitely I can definitely that is definitely a person after my own heart. I'm big on I'm big on graphic tees. I'm big on messages on t-shirts. It's been that way for the longest time ever since I was a teenager. Like one thing you're gonna know about me, sneakers. Although I'm not the sneaker. See, when you look at me, because we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna deal with all that because I'm not afraid. I am a sneakerhead, but I am not going to go out here waiting lines for forever. I'm not going to sit here and bid astronomical amounts of money for things. Shoes for me, if I could find shoes that are unique, that fit, that are that can work with my wardrobe and that are reasonably priced, no matter where I find them, I'm going to get them. And it's not about paying for shit that was already sold or debuted a long time ago. That's not my thing. So, and again, folks, apologize for any of the dragging here. I will be paying for the premium once again. It's just going to take a little time. Not a little time, but it'll get there. I want now that I feel pretty secure, pretty confident that this is where I want to be. This is where I want to produce my content now. This is the starting point to spread out to the other, what I'm saying, things that I have going. Yeah, this is where I'm gonna be. So yeah, pretty soon I'm going to be putting out the money needed to go ahead and get this particular thing more premium. But again, her t-shirt now, let's sue the government. It's nice. It's in pink. It's nice. I mean, and even in the pink, I'll wear it because the message is there. So let's sue the government. They owe us. I mean, we don't have to storm the Capitol like the idiots did. I mean, these are things when you don't have when you feel like your government is stepping on your neck, then you certainly feel the kind of rage and anger that will make you want to feel like you got to take them on. You got to get them out of there because they're not going to be fair. But with the world watching, with other ways that we could avail ourselves in this, in this government and things like that, even someone who is an admitted modern day anarchist, by the way, if you hopefully you can see it. Let me try to turn or at least get up. Let me see. Let me see if that'll work better. There you go. We'll get a little closer. There you go. But anyway, as a modern day anarchist, I believe in working through a system that doesn't make people feel like they're getting a new regime in. Personally, and in the republic, that was way before democracy. In the republic, everybody's interests were represented. Even the anarchist interests were represented in the republic government. That's why you have so many representatives and so many congressmen and women, so many congress people, because it's because all of these people that are up on Capitol Hill are meant to represent the many interests that are expanded throughout the world. A farmer's interest is not going to be anybody's interest in the city. So you have to have representatives that will represent those farmers and what their interests are, not the corporate farming interests. If there should be representatives that represent those interests, not people with money that are sent into Congress to basically leverage politicians. No, this is about this is about politicians representing the interests of the people of their constituents. Those organic farmers are constituents. They should have people representing them and representing their interest in Congress, in the House of Representatives, in Washington. Just like us going on, if we go into any place, there's nobody that should be able to just do certain things, take certain information from you, disrespect you, or violate your privacy in any way. In the same way, it should be looked at on the internet. So now I don't know if this pushes any buttons. I don't know if I'm going to get any sort of messaging or an email from. Let's just check that right now. I guess we might as well be on guard with this. Let me see. Okay, so far we haven't received any sort of indication from YouTube at this point. Maybe that happens on the actual YouTube page. I don't know, but well, let's just check then. We have it right here. Let's just see if we're getting any kind of messaging, anything going on. Let's just double check here. Okay, seems like no for right now. All right, so let me see. What can we get away with anything else? Let me see. Let's just try to check that out. Yeah.
We have great designers at EFF. They made this special. What is EFF? And what is that? The Electronic Frontier Foundation is the world's biggest and oldest digital rights organization. We were founded in 1990. Our basic goal is to make sure that when you go online, your rights go with you. So we do things around free speech, around privacy, and around trying to build an internet that stands with you rather than against you.
And let's just do this, huh?
Did you know it's so prescient? The idea, I'm thinking back to 1990.
Okay,
And
let's
the
see.
internet was, you had a little AOL disk, yeah? Maybe 95 or 6 better that. Right, it might have been, it was just like old binary message boards. Yeah. How did you all have the prescience to see that this could be turned into a tool of surveillance and of government repression? Yeah, I mean, the founders of the EFF, the John Perry Barlow, John Gilmore, and Mitch Tate were involved in some early FBI missteps around the internet, and they worked with the FBI. They were like questioned by the FBI, and there were a lot of raids going on. And they weren't raided, but they were asked a bunch of questions, and they realized that the government didn't really understand how the internet was working either, because the FBI didn't. And they thought, we need to start an organization that's going to think about how our civil liberties work in the digital age. And a couple of them are pretty geeky, and they realized that the internet we were building was not very secure. It didn't have a lot of privacy or security in it. Right. And the first fight we did was to try to free up a technology called encryption that now is the reason that we have the privacy and security we have online most of it.
Thank you. So I at least want to do that. And maybe we need to do this a little bit just to kind of get around this bullshit here. So there you go, folks. Let's just give you a little. I wanted to give you a little bit of information on the EFF, because that's what this was about at the end of the day. So those people who it's easier for them to be on YouTube, it's easier for them to come here and see certain information, then at least you can know what this thing was about for me. I've been around them for a while. I've been around this. This is who I am. I'm just a person who, as a real journalist, I never looked at this for fame. This was about being about the real information. Wow, it's kind of sweaty in here. My good God. Maybe I should. I had the window open, but Virginia weather, folks. It ebbs and it flows. It ebbs and it flows, especially in the springtime. It really does. But let me see. Any emails? Anything happening? Let me see. Okay, nothing yet. Okay, not nothing yet. So let's just feel good about that. So and possibly it's this tea. I love tea. Warm tea anyway, so maybe it's that's getting my pores all going, getting all those toxins out, possibly. Hey, folks, it's a part of the self care. But anyway, I wanted to do this and just kind of show this is what the EFF is. This is what they've been about, and they've been at the forefront of what's been protecting us for a lot of this time. Being able to have the privacy that certain people, corporations, entities that would look to farm your information won't, you know what I'm saying, wouldn't be able to do it that easily or without any sort of accountability or consequences for, you know what I'm saying, overstepping. So this is what we kind of deal with, here right now. So like, and all I did was 24 minutes of a possible, maybe I think it was 24 minutes. Let me just see. Was that really 24 minutes for this particular interview? Yeah. Okay. 24 minutes of a possible hour show. I mean, when you limit the commercials, at least probably about 50 minutes. So, I you could almost well, that's almost half the show, sir. But I mean, okay, well, but the other show was the entertainment, the other people, which by the way has a great black comedian up that oh my god, why am I forgetting his name? But you know what? This is what technology is for because you don't have to apologize when you can, when you can basically just look it up. So okay. Okay, there we go. Josh Johnson, folks. Josh Johnson, very funny comedian. That's very topical comedy. He's like, you almost can kind of feel like, not in a way, he has a very unique way about going about things, but there's definitely influence there. I like the storytelling. I like the fact of the way he chooses to attack a certain, even a popular situation that everybody's kind of railed on. He still finds a way to speak about it in a way that is just very, very thoughtful, very funny, very just, I mean, it's extremely clever. I'm glad that he's been brought on to the Daily Show. I was starting to get a little concerned, and I think that's why certain things happened. Honestly, they tried to do this whole thing of, yeah, black female comics that do certain comedy a certain way can just be jammed into certain spaces, and it just doesn't work. No, the way it wouldn't work for certain black male comedians. Josh Johnson is someone who works in the Daily Show space, and yet and also able to keep his long hair, his braids and whatnot. He's able to keep those and maintain for us the culture. So I appreciate everything that he's bringing. I'm not going to do too much more on this. I'm not going to play into this because it just lets you know what they're going after. They're taking on the corporations now. They're taking on the government as always. They're recognizing that it's always going to be a twofold situation. That letting people know that everything is rigged to get them pulled in, to get them set up, to get them not wanting to read the terms and conditions and the rights and the protections in when you set certain things up. She's even talking to him. And the most important part, I think, let me just try to get there if I can. I at least want to get there a little bit too. So let's see.
The board found new ground to assimilate. Kind of a different question than your social media question, the individual liability question. I think that's a hard one too sometimes because I think that it's easy to blame technology for what are kind of complicated human problems. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. The reason why I say this is because in my mind, Meta, Instagram, Twitter are not free speech. They're algorithmically driven speech. It's processed like in the way Doritos is food. So it strikes me as like that's actually not because free speech doesn't have hierarchy. There is not blue checks on free speech. There's not ways to that their business model does not monetize hostility or other things. Like I don't consider those social media companies free speech. I consider it monetized, incentivized, algorithmic cluster that exist to create. I mean, I think there would be a difference. I really disagree. Because I really think that you decide who gets to go on your show every night. You decide what goes on the front of your show. Newspapers decide what goes on the headline, and they do it based on how to probably sell more newspapers. I don't understand. They kind of like these companies. Don't undercut their entire business model. But I think that when your strategy for doing that is encouraging censorship, there's a lot of people who don't get to speak. They don't get to be on your show. They don't get to be on their time. They get to speak. Here's the flip side. I'll just gently is that I think the current toxicity of social media is far more censorious of free speech. Most of the people that I know don't want to engage in that toxic soup. Immediately they do it with all kinds of terrible things. And like Reddit's an example. Reddit was a sinkhole. Like 10, 15 years ago, that was a shithole. And they cleaned it up. And you can actually go on it now and have a human experience. Right. And I think that it's important to continue to foster places for people to go so that when you look around and you realize you're in the Nazi bar, you can leave and go to another bar. But the thing is, you don't know.
But the thing is, Aaron Swartz was a co-founder in the actual Reddit, the real Reddit, the Reddit that was trying to give you information that you needed to exist and move and evolve in the real world. Adam Swartz was basically heavily punished for just trying to give people uh, just what was considered high level information that I guess government and corporate entities felt like people needed to pay for. He didn't feel like they needed to pay for it. It was a possibly philosophical, human, just overall, just overall social conversation about what information should be accessible to people and what shouldn't be. Our personal information, we're sitting here still fighting today that our personal information should be open season if we go on the internet, but other information shouldn't be open season if it's on the internet. And that was the thing that got Adam Swartz, looking at decades of prison time, and ultimately caused him to take his own life, unfortunately. At least if it's true, we'll say unfortunately it caused him to do that. But you know, we're in the era of Epstein. So what do you want me to say? So this is what we're talking about here. This is what we're dealing with right now, and the thing of free speech. Free speech, free this, free that, and who's right to do it and who's right to do what and everything like that. It's still a thing that we're arguing over right now. Right now. And it's so funny that I spoke to somebody about Adam Swartz, and about my admiration for him, and looking at him as well as others and realizing that the danger, the spotlight, the microscope, as it were, that I might be putting on myself, speaking on these things, circulating this information, you know, I think about William Cooper every day. I look at his book every day and know that I can't fear that. He never feared it. So why should I fear it? This is what is either you're going to stand for it, either you're going to stand for something or you're not. I'm not going to do a sound bite. Yeah, stand for something, fall for anything. Okay, but either something is going to, either you're going to come to a crossroads in your life where you either have to stand up for yourself, even in the face of impending consequences, or be looked at a certain way from that point on. And you will find that you will always seem to find that these type of crossroads will seem to find you in your travels. Just letting you know. And trying our best not to do too long of a show here. I just wanted to put some content onto the Mainframe multimedia page, because this is the journalism that we do. I wanted you to be able to see, first off, the emails that clearly show we were being invited to watch the shows, and where we could find the individual interview that that contained Cindy Cohn and her interview with Jon Stewart. My purpose was not to display this content as my own. It was just a reaction to the information being shown. But apparently, during my stream, I couldn't just show the information. I couldn't just stream it all the way out right, I guess. I guess I kind of have to play ball still in order to move forward. I felt like this was a very interesting conversation. I was kind of surprised that it was coming from Jon Stewart because and most people probably was as well, because usually a guy who is about free speech and saying what he wants to say and everything like that. And I understand. I understand a lot of people feel very put off by the internet as a whole. Trust me, it was a lot worse back in the day when Google Plus was up. You had a lot of people that would use a lot of very intricate, sneaky ways to set up to set up dummy accounts. They would go into different communities. They would sow seeds of dissent. They would plant information to get people disagreeing, going at each other. Nobody's moving towards a main goal anymore because they think they're right. They think they're right. There's just new information, and when you start having this whole thing of somebody's right and somebody's wrong, it creates division. If for no other reason, just for that, just the ego of somebody being right and somebody being wrong can create division. But when before there was a solution that we have a common enemy that we need to work towards eliminating. But then these shills come in and they'll implant information that makes one person look at the situation a little differently. And it starts to clash with some of the other people in the same community. It's these type of things. So it's you hate the fact that there are people out here willing to say awful things to other people, willing to lie about things, willing to stir up dissent, just to kind of help the status quo. I had in my time on being on Google Plus, I was part of a troll hunter community. And when I would go through my communities just being a good-hearted, well-intentioned participant, I would see people trying to sow seeds of dissent. And when I found that, I would immediately just like that was our deal. When we seen people that were in certain spaces trying to sow seeds of dissent, we would alert other members of our troll hunter community to come into that particular community and start to root those people out. Plain and simple. And that's free speech is not about it. Free speech and basically, I'm not about censorship. Those people can come on, and if they really feel like they have it, they have this in their chest. They go into an internet, they go into a certain space and say things that will inflame other people. They have to deal with the flames. That's free speech also. And when people maintain their free speech and their freedom to find out about you, the real you, and what you're really trying to do, like I had to expose a Boeing executive, basically, what I'm saying, sneaking into communities that were speaking about things that we could do to weaken the corporate stranglehold on the people, on government. And they were starting to try to get people to try to turn people on each other, create scenarios and narratives that were completely untrue, because they wanted to keep people not thinking about weakening the government stranglehold on the people, about weakening their intimidation of the people, making the government more intimidated of its people, making corporations separate and have to live their own lives, and not be coddled and handheld by the government, where they can make a bunch of money if everything's going well for them, and if they're not, the government will help them sustain, because somehow in some people's minds they become too big to fail. So, I mean, all this is what this is. All this is the fight for us to have some power, folks. So, check into the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the EFF. Check into them. Check into what they're doing. Support them. They're moving. They're still moving forward, and I have been aware of them at least for the last almost probably 10 years, at least almost 10 years or more than 10 years. So there's definitely somebody that I respect, and I was definitely excited, and that's why I was kind of, "Ugh, what could I do here?" Because I don't even know if I even want to press the issue with if I even want to press the issue with this, because I don't think I'll win, because it is third party. It is the Daily Show. It is Comedy Central, and they have a right to basically gatekeep their content from somebody like me just streaming it. But I wanted to at least explain that I didn't just go up here, go live, and decide that I would stream this interview. I wanted to show people that I'm reputable, that some of us out here who do YouTube, that we're trying to be more of a presence on here, because people are still, we realize that because of the people, YouTube is still a very, very powerful source to get yourself seen, to gain an audience, to gain a lane for yourself if you work hard enough. I'm willing to now work hard. I've gotten my stuff in order. I'm going to start moving forward. I'm trying to get a great team together as best I can so that we can put out great content for you in a great way. And this is where it starts. I mean, you'll look at my personal channel, you'll see probably only maybe 5, 6 subscribers right now. I hadn't put a whole lot of effort into that. That was mostly used for school, mostly used for just fun stuff. Over here, you only see about maybe 50 subscribers. I was doing other things. A lot of my content is on Damien J Network. Jamie, apologize, folks. Damien J Rogers Network. That is Damien with an A, not with an E. J Rogers Network. And you go over there, you'll see a lot of our shows. You'll see Teehee TV, which I'm hoping to move over here to Restream. We were over in StreamYard for a couple of years, almost. I'd probably say either almost a couple of years or right at a couple of years. We've been there for a while. They're just not offering a lot of great things. Restream right now, you seeing what Restream is offering right now. Like, there's some lag, of course, because you want to get that premium, you want to get that more power, you want to get that 1080, you want to get that 1080p. That's what you want to get. You want to get that more power, you want to get that more serviceable, more streamlined, more fluent, you know movement here. So I'm gonna get there. We got things going on, and we're gonna be moving forward on those things. The Cooper Matrix is coming back. We're going to be bringing back the Cooper Matrix. We're going to be looking into that book again, folks. We're going to be looking into these conspiracies overall. But the Cooper Matrix has got to come back. That's what I realize now. I was thinking, like, man, I got to do the Cooper Matrix now and not do conspiracy theory? I did that on purpose. Conspiracy front slash theory. Because we're going to be looking. But sometimes I wonder, is it more punchy to go conspiracy or theory? Conspiracy, just theory. What is conspiracy theory? So maybe the mystery on that was we're going to be going through all of the conspiracies. Anyone that might have legs, that's been talked about, that's been noted, really noted, we're gonna explore it, and we're gonna decide, does it have legs enough to be a legit conspiracy, or is it simply a theory? But the Cooper Matrix is an entity on its own. I've been asked about it a while back, and because of other factors that I have to blame myself for, I haven't brought it out. But now situations are becoming present, are now becoming apparent that I can't keep holding back the Cooper Matrix anymore. So we're going to be doing that, folks. I want you to understand real quick. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see what happens if I do this. This is going to be coming soon. Okay. I can't. This is his own entity. It's got to get done. I. This is this is happening, folks. This is what we need to talk about, and for me to do the real, honest, the everything, just go down the line. It's got to be done on Rumble. So I'm really going to be pushing. I'm really going to be setting up, promoting the true story of hip hop on Rumble. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to take some advice. I'm going to see how can I do this in a way that, I mean, I do have to say up here, I haven't received any sort of indications, any sort of, hey, Mr. Williams, you're doing something right now. You need to not be doing that. So I think I've kind of did my thing. Maybe I'll slow down the playback speed just a little bit because I think just that little adjustment makes it a little different. But I'm again, folks, I'm a habitual line stepper. I am a consistent envelope pusher. This is what I do. I'm a journalist. This is what we do. We'll try things out. We'll push the line because we want to see how far we can get to get the information and to put out the information that we can. So it's sometimes they're going to be falls. They're going to be slings and arrows that I'm going to have to get through in order to get the real information out to you. But I'm going to do it. Can't be afraid. I'm not afraid. So this is what we're going to do. And I don't want to drag this video out too long. I've given you but let's just a little bit here, a little bit more here. Let's just.
Algorithm doesn't tell you that they've notified the Nazis that you're there. It's not transparent. Like on a newspaper, when they say our top story, you see it, but it's like advertising. They outlaw subliminal messaging because it's not conscious. The algorithm is unconscious. It's doing things you don't see in the way that you don't see that in a food lab they're taking a raccoon's anus and turning it into raspberry flavor. I think that the worry that I have is that if you want somebody to develop a better version, you can't create instant liability anytime somebody gets mad that their kids touch trans content. You can't. We need better options, and people are developing them. Right? There's a whole Mastodon universe. I know it's not very big yet, but it's a decentralized place where people can build safe communities for themselves. There are, there's environmental protection. Can't we just view it as in the same way we view environmental protection? There are constants we put it in the air, and downstream of those are decisions that we make. And when you put those regulations in, you can say, well, that's just going to help big corporations and all that. But don't we have to, at some level, use regulation to mitigate very real world harms that are occurring at this moment through those companies? I think that when you pick censorship as your strategy, you are dealing with, no, that's what you want to do. You want to create liability for the company based on things that people say to each other on the network. And what you're doing is you're saying you should make sure that those people can't speak on your network because they're causing harm on your platform. And I worry that that's already with all forms of communication. There are libel laws, there are slander. Isn't that censorship? I can't say things on this show that are patently untrue and malevolent because we regulate that harm. Well, you can always sue the people who are harming you on the platform. So the question is secondary liability. Cat turd 161? Yeah. Honestly, but also, I just want people to be able to leave. And I think that if we wrote a paper a little while ago called Privacy First, and we did a little thought experiment about all of these social harms that are happening in other places and what the world would look like if we just cut the knees out of the business model of surveillance. And they don't go away, but they get a lot smaller. And I think that there's a lot of things that we could try. I'd also like to see a lot more support for kids. I really think that a lot of the cases that are horrible that we're seeing, there's usually a lot of other things going on in these kids' lives and we don't do a good job of taking care of them. But I worry, I think that the censorship strategy feels really easy and it feels really powerful, and I worry it's going to backfire. I really do.
And that is when you're a person who fights for freedom, who fights for people's rights, you always know, as a journalist, as a matter of fact, you have to understand that as you fight for someone's rights, that sometimes you're not going to like all of the people whose rights you fight for. It's just the way that it is. You're not going to like all the people whose rights you fight for. So you try your best to just be about the rights themselves. Be about the freedoms and the things that you're fighting for is that you're not doing it with a slanted purpose for, it's really to make sure that these people can spew out the hate that they want to spew out. I mean, but some people who do that, they get found out, and that's where they lose their goodwill, because you start realizing that are just these people are just basically using, just like in a way a racist individual will use Disney nostalgia and manipulate that as a bigger fight for why there shouldn't be race swapping. And let me just tell you, as me, I do agree in a way that we should see that we should be able to create our own characters in universes where, what I'm saying, where characters of color can basically be represented. But here's the point. Here is the point that no one ever wants to talk about. Are we getting that opportunity? The answer is no. Not without somebody being having to go through a lot of years of proving themselves before they get that kind of cachet. If you don't believe me, ask Samuel Jackson, ask Denzel Washington, ask Lawrence Fishburne. These three men are looked at as some of the greatest actors. Angela Bassett as well, and they've had to go through a lot of years of grinding and hustling to get at the kind of level where they have a certain level of cachet. They had to get through a lot of years. So this is what a lot of this is, and and basically and going back to what I was saying, that sometimes that sometimes when you go out here as a journalist and you speak up for certain things, it's about the people who are marginalized, and that's why, and it feels good. So I'm not doing this as in a way of, I want people who are marginalized, who want to have a voice, who want to be able to speak up for things. They can speak up for things, and they can be the free voices that speak up against the free voices of hatred that are out there. Boom those areas up to where a lot of those people that have say a big platform, that they'll be able to spew their garbage. These people have a big platform to be able to counteract with the truth, with real information, with real bit with real bridge building. This is what this is supposed to be about. And you can't when you shut somebody else down, you open the door of you being shut down regardless of what you think about the other side. And that's the problem. And that's why I became a troll hunter, because I didn't want to say these people shouldn't be up here being able to say these things that they're saying. It's saying, okay, they have the freedom to say it, and we have the freedom to antagonize them for their stupidity. That's the freedom of this world. That's modern anarchy. You have the freedom to talk your bullshit. I have the freedom to talk my bullshit back to you. And when you try to get mad about it and try to act like you're going to do this or you're going to do that, I am not going to give a fuck. And I just might beat your ass because I don't give a fuck about the cops. I don't call the cops to solve my fucking problems. So, again, folks, when you exist in this world and you speak about freedom, you have to understand that other people are entitled to those freedoms. It's just the way that works. So, and that's why I was very excited about the EFF, any members of the EFF going on to the Daily Show. I enjoy both. I have a rapport and respect for the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and Cindy Cohn, as well as thank you to Aaron Jew, the director of member engagement. Thank you for reaching out for this. I have respect for the Daily Show. I have respect for Jon Stewart. and I have a respect for what they do on their platform. I can be a mature individual and say, you know what, in this case, there are certain things and certain things put in place that I have to be respectful of. The Daily Show, Comedy Central especially, and the corporation that they work for, I have to give way to them because this is the battle. The independent media, the independent entrepreneurs versus the big corporations. So, this is what this is. It's a tenuous, it's a tenuous boundary, a tenuous ceasefire to not be going at each other. But, you know, these things are going to happen. I'm going to choose maturity. I'm going to choose cleverness, intelligence. Um, I'm just gonna I'm gonna use a more I'm just gonna be fluent about this whole situation and not be weird about it. So, I could fight. I could try to make and say, hey, look, I was invited to this. I didn't realize when I was, I kind of slipped my mind being on YouTube all this time that it was a whole third party thing. But the person that was a person of the hour for the show and for the interview. They were their organization was letting me know, inviting me to watch, support, and everything. And part of my support is reacting, circulating the information for them, and everything like that. Because not a lot of people watch the Daily Show like that. There's certain people at a certain age range that do, and they do very well. I think there are younger people that are starting to watch the Daily Show more. I think they're starting to get more people in, like Josh Johnson. That's definitely somebody who's making me more interested. Jon Stewart is always somebody I respected, but getting somebody in like Josh Johnson, that's representing me. That's representing me, and it's clever, and it's doing this thing that is something that I greatly appreciate. So again, I think sitting here going through this live stream, which is why I do things like this, because it gives you a moment to kind of run through the things in your head, and you realize, you know what, man, it may not even go my way anyway. So I'm not going to sit here and just try to make a big fight about this video that got pulled, especially when I'm able to still maintain that video on my Rumble account, Mainframe Multimedia 1 on Rumble, by the way. So, hey, you know, we'll just call it a compromise. And now I'm able to come up here, no issues, no indications, and I was able to do this explanation on my YouTube channel of what happened, what went on, and just give them the truth. I was invited. I was invited to support, to watch the interview. I let them know that I would love to react to it, and they were like, "Great!" They saw that. They saw it the same way that I saw it, as support. So, but okay, we're almost at an hour at this thing, so we're just gonna go ahead and let this go for now. I just wanted to explain it and also let people know that hey, it's not a big thing. Got the full reaction on Rumble. But now I got a little more content just to kind of get. I'm gonna get the ball rolling, folks. It's gonna be almost every day. I'm gonna be trying to put content in of different things, of different stuff that we're gonna start covering, that we're gonna start planning tent poles into at this point, and moving forward from these tent poles. And we're just gonna and what the tent is gonna be created is Mainframe Multimedia, pretty much, folks. That's the tent that I'm working on right now. And under that tent is going to be my content and my personal name, my personal brand, as well as Mainframe Multimedia and all the content that we're going to be doing. So I thank you very much for those people who might actually watch this later on. I'll do more promotion and things like that so that I can get people to watch live and react live. But other than that, we'll just keep going, and doing what we got to do. We're going to try new things here and there because that's a journalist. That's a creative person. That's what I do. I try new things. I try to go from different angles that other people aren't going. I try to do the things that other people aren't doing and just move from there. I'm a journalist. This is my workspace. I'm a journalist. I can work from here. I don't have to take a bunch of time later on and edit I'm a journalist. Boom. Here's what we're doing. Here's the information. I got it right here. Boom, 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 boom. Let's check it all out. This is what I like to do. This gets my blood pumping. It really does. And editing, post, pre and post production, all that stuff, that's work. I enjoy it, but it's work. You need help with post production. You need help with pre production. You need help with script writing. You need help with photography, recording, things of that nature, voiceovers. You know what I'm saying? Anything multimedia that you need somebody to kind of jump in there, give you some extra help with, get an extra set of hands and eyes on a situation that help you get some stuff done. I'm here for that. I can help you. I'm an independent. I'm saying I'm an independent media entrepreneur type. I'm not going to hit you in the head. I'm saying to give you help with this stuff. But if you need that help, I'm saying get in contact with us. Mainframe Multimedia. We have the Gmails. You can contact us on direct messaging and any of the social media that I'm a part of. Just check it out. Want to try it? I want to really get back to helping other independent entities out here move faster. We can work together. We can build relationships and associations that where we can, we can become more of a more of a affiliate system that's powerful, that could be looked at as powerful as any of these corporations that are out here. It can be done, and it's something that I've always felt that I wanted to do, and I haven't given up on it. So while I still have this fire, this passion to do it, I want to do it. I feel like I'm at the age where I can handle something like this. So it's just time to move forward, folks. I thank you for your time. I thank YouTube. We got to play the game. Until we can change the rules, we got to play the game the way it's set up. And I'm willing to play the game. And I've got, and as always, folks, I'm always going to have an ace up my sleeve for different situations that I may encounter. I'm always going to have an ace up my sleeve. So you have a great one, folks, and we'll check you out real soon.